Hello, this is Faith at Faith and Books. I'm making this video on December 20th, the evening of December 20th. And I thought I would do it now because, of course, Christmas is approaching. My youngest son's 22nd birthday is December 22nd. It's on Tuesday. So I'm going to be preparing for that and preparing for Christmas. We're going to have a very small family gathering on Christmas Eve, we've decided, instead of actual Christmas Day. Anyway, so, and then I wanted to be able to focus on the 12 days of Christmas, which will be about picture books from Christmas Day to Epiphany. So I decided I'd do this last video before I start putting up videos for the 12 days of Christmas. So I've been watching, I haven't had time to watch many, but I have seen a couple over the past week or two where people have been talking about things that they're planning to do in 2021. So I thought I would do it too. But I'm gonna make it quick. First of all, my something that's really casting a pall over this Christmas is that my father-in-law is back in the hospital. He's been there for several days. He still has COVID. He's got a lot of weird complications that may or may not relate to COVID, and he's not doing too well. He seems a little better today. He's not stable. His kidney function is down, but it's a little better than it was yesterday. So anyway, so we're hoping that he gets better soon and can go back to his home. But anyway, that is something that if you're the praying sort and you want to send up a prayer for him, that would be lovely. Anyway, so let me just go on. So in spite of that and other crazy things that are going on and the fact that we're in the middle of a pandemic, I'm still looking optimistically towards 2021. So I came up with 5 phrases overall that I want to focus on in 2021, and these are not in any particular order. I'm just using words or phrases so I can remember what it is, just a shorthand for what it is that I want to focus on. The first one was garden. So one thing I'd like to do is, before 2021, is finish reading the Earth User's Guide to Permaculture, which I hope to do the week between Christmas and New Year's. I hope to just sort of power through that, the couple of remaining books that I have to read, and the nonfiction ones. And then, so the first word was garden. I want to focus on my garden. And that also means, nature and the environment. And I'm trying to, where is this book? I got this planner, this crazy planner. It's way overkill because I'm not really a homesteader, even though I do have 4 chickens and some, a food forest and some raised veggie beds. But I'm hoping this will keep me organized. Mostly I need to write down when I plant things and when they're supposed to be harvested because I'm really bad at that. So that hopefully this will keep me organized, and I'll be using this in 2021 to help me organize my garden. And also I want to be more pollinator friendly, and just, garden just represents everything about nature because I like nature. The other word I was thinking of was service. That's something that I've been trying to do every year. I try to do more things to help those who need help. The older I get, the more important I look back and I think that should have been a priority all along. So I'm going to be doing the hypothermia shelter again in January, and then mostly, I'll do other things too, but right now I've been really involved in the Care for Our Common Home ministry at my church, and now I'm sort of getting involved on the level of the diocese because I'm in a little working group of people who are trying to get a whole program going for 2021. So that's kind of interesting. I've never done anything like that before. So that's interesting. I gotta take a sip of my apple cider here. Hard apple cider. So let's see. So service, trying to, And then the other one I was thinking of is children. I've got my little, almost like a grandchild, or really like a grandchild, 5-year-old that I'm going to be watching, and my little grandson Linus, who I hopefully will be watching. And then I've got my other granddaughter up in Boston, so I just want to be focused on children. And I love that kind of stuff, children's literature, you know, the whole Montessori approach, you know, being outside and playing with them and all that sort of thing. So that's a really joyful thing to focus on for 2021. So I'm gonna, that's my third. So I got garden, service, children, and then I made this one up, Cottage Minimalism, because I have so much junk in my house. After 32 years of marriage, we're both clutter. I mean, we just create clutter wherever we go together. We're really bad for each other in that way. And we've been in this house for almost 20 years. I just have so much junk that I've got to unload. So I'm really wanting 2021 to be the year that I systematically do that. And I'm going to try. I've got various strategies that I want to get into. And so that's the other thing. And then, what was the last thing that I said? Oh, well, reading. Okay, so for reading, let me get to that because that's why you're here and I've already chatted for 6 minutes. Okay, so these are my 10 points about how I want to approach reading in 2021. And these are in no particular order. So I really liked A Year of Reading One's Own that Jason at Old Blues Chapter and Verse and Kelly at Books I'm Not Reading started. I petered out halfway through the year. I started off strong, and I did peter out, but I really appreciated a lot of books that I read this year were books that had been sitting on my shelf that I had just been ignoring, and I finally got around to them. So I'm thinking at least quarterly, like every 3 months, I'm going to try and find a book, pick out a book that's been sitting on my shelf unread and read it. So I'm hoping to get 4 of those types of books read in 2021. And then I joined Kate Howe's Victorian Reading Club, which I'm not quite sure how it works or when we're going to talk about things. I don't know. But I know that in January, I think it's the end of January, we're going to discuss the first readings. And they are short stories by Oscar Wilde, The Canterville Ghost, and The Happy Prince, and other stories. And I've shown these before. This so ugly, this so charming. It's just the cutest little book. I really like this book. The Happy Prince and Other Stories, and The Canterville Ghost and Other Stories. So I've read some of these before. Anyway, I'm going to be reading those in January. So I want to read more Victorian literature, and that's why I joined Kate's club. And so that's exciting for 2021. I'm also going to keep up with the Classics Club spin, which is, again, that's quarterly. Once every quarter, you make up a list of 20 possible classics you want to read. They spin, they give you a number between 1 and 20, and that's the one you're supposed to read, and then they give you a couple of months to read it. So the last classic spin was the number, whatever it is. I can't remember what number it was, but this was the one that I have to read. It's Seneca on the Shortness of Life. Life is long if you know how to use it. It's a Penguin Books, Great Ideas. So this is also supposed to be read by the end of January. So, and good thing it's short. So all those things are pretty easy, I think. They're just short stories by Oscar Wilde and that short book by Seneca. So, and I'm looking forward to that, the Seneca book. And then, this is a big one. This is actually a really big one. I'm going to read the Bible in 365 days. So there's this program set up by this priest, Father Mike Schmitz, and he has come up with this reading plan. It's 2 or 3 passages of the Bible every day, every single day, and he's going to do a podcast. So what I'm hoping to do is read the readings maybe the night before, and then get up in the morning and listen to his podcast. And I think what he does is he reads the passages and then he gives a brief reflection on them and closes with a prayer. So I'm excited about that. The Catholic Bible is a little bit longer than the Protestant Bible, so we get more points for reading the Bible in a year. So So that's a big one, actually, because I have to figure out how to consistently listen to this podcast. So that's kind of something that's going to take more effort. The other ones are sort of things I've already started on or am in the habit of doing. Then number 5 is, I always do the read 52 books in 52 weeks. I think this year I'm only going to get up to possibly 43 books. So I fell short this year, but I'm going to try again. I'm going to aim for 52 books in 52 weeks. Then I'm just going to continue on with the things that I really liked about BookTube. For instance, I really enjoyed Middle Grade March. I thought that was fun. I started the May for magazine, and I'm sad that Sean Standfast isn't, publishing on his channel right now. I hope he comes back. I miss you, Sean. Yeah, he did May for magazine too, but I still have these McClures up here that I want to read and explore. So I'm going to do that in May. I may or may not do Jane Austen July. I went through a very intense 10-year period where I was super into Jane Austen, anything Jane Austen. But now I'm kind of spent, and I want to move on to other things. So I don't know if I'll do Jane Austen July. But I love Victober and Nonfiction November. And hopefully next December I'll really be focused on the Cloak and Dagger Christmas, because I think that's just fun. And you need something kind of lighter during that time of the year, I think, just because it's so busy. And then kind of tied into Cloak and Dagger is I do want to try to read more cozy mysteries. It's a genre I've been putting off for years and years and years, and I think I should settle into it. And explore it a little bit. So 2 other things. I want to read more Sir Walter Scott books. I have read Ivanhoe a couple times, and I read Waverley, but I want to read some of the others. The only one I can think of right now is Rob Roy, but there's a few others. Kenilworth, I think, is one. My father loves Scott, and so I always wanted to read something on I was cooking, and I did something to my wrist. Anyway, and my husband was saying that he wanted to read them more. He read Ivanhoe, and he was trying to catch up to me, and maybe he'll read Waverley soon, and then maybe we can read them together. But I don't know. I intentionally want to include a couple of Scott novels in the year 2021. And I also want to use my Goodreads account. I have this Goodreads account. I never stick to it. And I don't even know how, I have books up there that I DNF'd 5 years ago. I have no idea how to get rid of them. It'll just pop up that you're still reading. I gave up on that book 5 years ago. So I just want to get in there. And how do you use that efficiently? I don't know. But I want to figure it out, because I used to use my blog, but I hardly ever blog anymore. And I just feel guilty every time I go, I never blog anymore. But all I do is keep a list of my books there. And so it just seems like Goodreads is designed to do what I need to do. And so I think I should make better use of that. So I'm going to try and do that. But one thing I also really wanted to do, this is number 10, is I want to do something called a beloved reread. I have certain books that I've been wanting to reread for years and haven't gotten around to it. And what I'm going to do is, I think every other month, I'm going to just announce that I'm rereading a book, and I'm going to ask other people to read along with me. And it can be your first time reading it, or you can be rereading it. And we can have a nice discussion about it. And some of the books that I want to read, one of the first ones, wait, where is it? Let me see if I can find it. Oh, where is it? Here we go. I'm sorry. This is the first one I think I want to read, maybe in February. It's a romance, so it'll be good for February. These Old Shades by Georgette Hare. And I think this would be a good book to introduce Georgette Hare to, because it's really thrilling and it's got a great romance in it. And it's got a lot of humor. It's got her classic villain slash debonair hero as well. So anyway, I think I might try this for February. So if you are interested in reading Georgette Hare, and you want to start with These Old Shades, this is pre-Regency period. She's known for Regency romances, but this is actually set slightly before. I think it's set maybe just before the French Revolution or something. Could that be right? Yeah, that could be right. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so that's what I want. That's the first one I want to do. But other rereads I want to do is Precious Bane by Mary Webb. I don't know. I never hear people talk about that, but I love that book, and I reread it about every 5 years. That book Loris, which is by a Russian author, and I thought it was a mind-blowing book, very much in the tradition of Dostoevsky. I want to reread that one. I have been meaning to reread C.S. Lewis's Till We Have Faces for about a decade now. I really want to read that. And then I don't know what else I'm going to pick, but those are some of the ones that popped into my head that I've just been wanting to reread for ages, and I haven't. I've just never gotten around to it. So those are my 10 ideas for how I want 2021 to look like. So anyway, so I wish you a Merry Christmas if you so celebrate. And I hope you are doing well, and happy reading. Talk to you later. Bye.